Superhero movies can sometimes be formulaic, but what's fun is when they break out of that with a few different twists and turns, some of which actually happened in real life before any of these movies could get made. So there was a time before the MCU, before Marvel was a titan of the multiplex, when they were only famous in the comics world, like any other comic publisher, I guess. Maybe not DC at this point since they're also large, but you get the point. And there was a time where they were selling off their movie rights to different companies, trying to stay afloat. These were harder times. These weren't the hardest times for Marvel. And one of those picture companies was, of course, Sony. This was in the late 90s. They were working on getting Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire version, made, and they needed to get certain rights from Marvel. So according to an upcoming book called The Big Picture, The Fight for the Future of Movies from Ben Fritz, something pretty interesting happened. So at the time, Sony had an executive named Yair Landau, and he was talking with then new CEO of Marvel, Ike Perlmutter. At the time, they were just exiting bankruptcy. They were very cash poor. They needed to stay afloat, and they made an offer to Sony. So Landau had the DVD rights to Spider-Man, but they needed the film rights as well. And Marvel, seeing an opportunity as an opportunity to not go bankrupt, made a bigger offer. They said that they could have nearly every Marvel character, Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, Black Panther, more, for just now what would seem like the paltry value of $25 million. And they could have had it all, much as like Adele sings. However, according to the book, Mr. Landau took the offer back to his bosses at Sony, whose response was quick and decisive. He recalled in an interview, "Nobody gives a shit about any of the other Marvel characters. Go back and do a deal only for Spider-Man."
I want Spider-Man!
Hindsight is 2020. Who could have known that this would turn into what it is today? Though, to their credit, you can make this argument, which is, it doesn't matter how great the characters are, the people behind it need to do great things with them. I mean, I would argue that DC has, in a lot of cases, better characters under their licensing, but has not made better movies. So a lot of it does depend on who is making the film, who is casting the film, what kind of support does it have, what kind of different people are coming together to make this film. So it's not necessarily how great is the character or how iconic is the character, it's who is willing to do the work and who has the passion in them to do it well. So maybe Sony could have had all of these characters, and maybe they could have done a poor job and we wouldn't have what we have now, which is this, I think we're starting to get to the post-Renaissance, but this is a major genre that has not been duplicated and is often imitated. So there's an alternate world out there, Mandela effect-wise, if you believe in that kind of thing, where it happened this way. And I don't know where movies are at this point, but I'm glad that it happened the way it did. If you have a friend at Sony who you get in an argument with, you can always say, "Oh yeah, well, you work at the company that turned down the Avengers." There you go. Audience, what is your favorite superhero movie? Please let us know below and on Facebook and Twitter.